Hello and welcome to the Accounting and Finance Short Courses Student Information Session. With me today, I have Chief Academic Officer Iona McKinney. Iona, welcome.
Hi James, great to be here to talk about the accounting and finance short courses that we have available.
Excellent. And I think what's really great about these is certainly they can be done as a group or they can be done individually. And a number of the units which they cover are really relevant as to what's going on out there in the world at the moment. And of course, there's also pathway opportunities, which we'll talk a little bit about later on today as well. So first and foremost, let's have a bit of a look at the course outline, the courses that form part of, I suppose, the greater group of short courses, the skill sets, if you will, and have a look at a bit of the background on them.
So here at Mentor Education, the accounting and finance short courses that we offer, every one of them are skill sets. And each one of these skill sets does provide future credits in either the Certificate for in Accounting and Bookkeeping, the Diploma of Accounting, or the Advanced Diploma of Accounting, depending on which level students are studying at. So there is some real bonuses for students that are interested in either studying these skill sets or short courses, as we're calling them, to develop their skill and knowledge in a particular area, or are wanting to utilise them as credits in a full course towards their course completion. So as it says here, all of the skill sets or the short courses are designed to provide a flexible general purpose pathway across a number of industries. So they're quite generic. And they comprise of, for example, the BAS agent registration skill set, which is all about completing and preparing business activity statements and maintaining payroll systems. We also look at preparing tax documentation for individuals in the accounting principles skill set, and of course our anti-money laundering and terrorism financing risk assessment and compliance short course as well. So all the courses are delivered online with virtual classes, and of course they all have slightly different durations, but they really do provide a great way to develop a focused knowledge in those finance and accounting areas that each one of the short courses cover.
Excellent. I think that's a really important point to make. And it might be that you're currently in a role and you're looking to specialise in a certain area. So by plugging in, say, one of these short courses or skill sets might be the perfect solution for you. Okay, or it might be that you're perhaps starting out and looking to move into a certain profession or certain industry, and this is a really nice way to kind of dip your toes into the water, as it were, and then perhaps work towards probably a more comprehensive qualification by something sort of, diploma or advanced diploma level or whatever it may be. And we'll certainly talk about what opportunities are available there in just a few moments' time. But before we do that, let's have a look at each of the different skill sets and the units that are included in each of them, and have a bit of a talk about perhaps what they include and some of the reasoning behind their inclusion in the greater skill set.
Okay, so I'll start off by talking about the BAS agent registration skill set. So quite often when we're working in an accounting and bookkeeping role, we really need to be able to understand the BAS, or the business activity statement, and instalment activity statements, or the IAS. Payroll is also part of that because it directly feeds into the generation of the BAS and that IAS as well. So we provide this as a short course. Now, it is called the BAS agent registration skill set. So students that actually have completed a certificate for in accounting and bookkeeping, which does include the BAS agent registration skill set, are able to apply to the Tax Practitioners Board once they've completed 1,000 hours of experience for registration as a BAS agent. So students that are wanting to actually undertake that registration, of course, need to complete the full qualification with the certificate for. But students that are just wanting to learn more, so we might be running our own business, so we want to know about how to actually complete the BAS, and we might want to know more about it because we've moved from working from a practice role in accounting and bookkeeping into a management accounting role, working in an office and in a different type of accounting type role. So there's a range of different applications, if you like, or reasons why somebody might want to study the BAS agent skill set. The accounting principles skill set is a great skill set. It introduces us to so many different things that we do on a day-to-day basis when we're working as an accountant, assistant accountant, or as a bookkeeper. But these are the core skills that we look at. And they make up some of them. They make up the majority of the core units for the certificate for in accounting and bookkeeping. So by studying the accounting and principles skill set, there's a couple of real benefits here, which we'll talk about again in a moment. But we look at reporting on financial activity, processing financial transactions, accounts and ledgers, and working with a chart of accounts. That all important unit of working effectively in accounting and bookkeeping, and the industry, and why continuous professional development is integral to what we do. We look at setting up and operating a computerized accounting system, and for that we utilize MYOB. And then, of course, as you can see here, we've got the Tax Practitioner Board units, so the TPB 401 and 402, which make up the BAS Agent registration skill set. So students are able to enrol in those additional units in this short course for accounting principles and develop their core knowledge of accounting and bookkeeping, but also, again, complete that BAS Agent registration skill set as part of that as well. The Advanced Accounting Principles skill set takes us to another level with what we do. So this is about taxation, and it's about preparing tax documents for individuals, that higher level of managing budgets and developing budgets, preparing financial reports for corporate entities, and those internal control procedures that are so integral to what we do in our financial management information system. We also look at providing management accounting information, so departmental accounting, operations, budgeting, costing, inventory control, all of that sort of thing. And again, providing financial and business performance information, which is all about KPIs and reporting. So those are the three accounting focused, if you like, short courses, and each of them has a different duration. So the BAS Agent is an 8-week course. The anti-money laundering, which I'll talk about in a moment, as it is a very different course again, is 10 weeks. The accounting principles skill set usually takes students around about 22 weeks, as does the advanced accounting principles skill set. Now, we also offer in this group of short courses the anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing skill set, which is a very, very interesting short course or skill set for students to be able to study, because it's about financial services regulation. It's also about assessing the vulnerability of those products and services as it relates to money laundering and terrorism financing, and how we assess our systems to ensure that we have that risk managed. So there's a number of different industries where having that risk assessment and having that risk management plan in place is part of what we need to do. So we might be working in banking, we might be working in finance, we might be working in financial planning, for example. Mortgage broking as well. So where we're actually required to be aware of those things and manage that risk. So that is a very specialised, if you like, short course, which is also a great foundation for working in an accounting and financial environment where we have to take those things into account.
Excellent. Look, what I'll say as well, Owen, is certainly for those who are tuning in and might be interested in the FNS 40217 certificate for in accounting and bookkeeping. If you'd like information on that, certainly head on over to the webpage. Or we also have access to a student information session, so a recording of a previous one. That's over on our YouTube channel. And what I'll do is I'll include a link to that recording in this actual post. And also the other thing is, stay tuned on our social media as well, because usually every couple of months we'll also run a live session on the Certificate 4 in Accounting and Bookkeeping as well. So if you'd like more information on that particular course, certainly register your interest, and then you'll be made available as to when we've got the next session as well. Now, earlier on, we talked a lot about pathways. And so what I thought we'd do, is again come back to you and talk to us about what a pathway process may in fact look like with these short courses that we've just talked about.
So there's different ways to enter different levels of study. And there are always the entry requirements for a course, but there's also what they refer to as alternative entry opportunities as well. So the accounting skill set and the advanced accounting skill set can provide a pathway opportunity for students to be able to enter the Diploma of Accounting and the Advanced Diploma of Accounting. So for students that are wanting to enter the Diploma of Accounting, they're able to complete the accounting, so the FNS 00014 accounting principles skill set, which provides them with an entry pathway into the Diploma of Accounting. For students that are wanting to enter the Advanced Diploma of Accounting, that are not wanting to study a Certificate 4 in Accounting and Bookkeeping, or not wanting to study a full Diploma of Accounting, they're able to actually complete both of the skill sets that we see here. So the Advanced Accounting Principles skill set and the Accounting Principles skill set also meet the requirements for entry into the Advanced Diploma of Accounting. So this is a study pathway that is, if you like, an alternative study pathway for students who, rather than studying the full Certificate 4 in Accounting and Bookkeeping and then into the Diploma of Accounting and then into the Advanced Diploma of Accounting, instead of completing that, they're able to complete the two skill sets for entry into the diploma, or the accounting, the advanced, or into the Diploma of Accounting. So both are great opportunities. Both different pathways are great opportunities, and they do provide that equivalency for students to be able to enter those higher level courses.
Excellent. And I think really what's important to note here as well is that the way the skill sets and the units are structured is that you actually get credits for all of the units that you've studied as part of the individual skill sets when it comes to the, say, holistic qualification, whether it be, say, a diploma or advanced diploma of accounting or whatever it may be. So there's really no concern of, I suppose, having to study the same thing twice. You're in fact credited those units that you've already done. So
most definitely, yeah.
And again, that can be really advantageous, sort of getting back to that idea that you might be, dipping your toe into the industry and sort of, starting your career, and then sort of aligning your education with, what's happening in your career at the time, or perhaps kind of, specialising in an area and knowing that you can sort of, on the side, build that entire qualification, by way of, say, diploma or advanced diploma, by starting with a couple of skill sets.
So there's also the alternative for students, and we spoke in our last student information session. If anybody would like to actually view that session, we also have the payroll administrator skill set available for students to study as well, which directly credits to the Diploma of Accounting and the Advanced Diploma of Accounting. So there's a whole range of opportunities within the FNS courses, short courses if you like, for students to be able to really create their own pathway opportunities as well, depending on what their interest is and depending on what their career aspirations are.
Now, just for those who are tuning in, and I'm sure you've been diligently taking notes on all of these different pathways and how these skill sets link in, but look, just in case you haven't, on the off chance, and you've got any questions about this, give us a call and speak to one of the members of the education advice team, and of course they can go through the whole process with you and sort of look at where it is you currently are and what it is that you intend on doing, and then of course work out what's going to be the most appropriate pathway from there. So what I thought I'd do as well is just have a bit of a look at some of the applications or occupations that these skill sets and short courses might apply to. So as we may mention earlier on, certainly one of the key ones, of course, is the business activity statement agent, okay, or BAS agent. And then anything and everything, you know, from a bookkeeping graduate right through to a senior accountant, as we can see there. And then on the right, you know, we've got some occupations such as, you know, credit lending professionals, financial planners, advisors, even stockbrokers, where we're going to find that the anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism funding skill sets become really, really applicable. Now, with respect to I suppose, industry statistics surrounding one of the key occupations, which a lot of these skill sets are aligned to, is that of the accountant. And this was taken from SEEK just today, sort of being the end of October, and average salary of 70,000. But I think what's probably more interesting, though, is the job growth of 8.6%. And really, that's kind of, I think, the metric that stands out to me, because it demonstrates really across a whole myriad of different industries, industry sectors, markets, whatever it may be, that there's continual demand for individuals with these kind of skill sets. And irrespective of, you know, the social or economic climate, you know, that we here in Australia and certainly around the world have experienced, you know, sort of over the last sort of 18 to 24 months, you know, there's still considerable growth in this, you know, in this industry, which in turn sort of demonstrates that there's, you know, sort of a vast amount of opportunity and then subsequent demand for skill sets. So certainly, if it's an area that somebody's looking at getting into, having a look at, you know, metrics like these, you know, say to us, yes, that there is in fact demand for those skill sets. Now, we've had a look at the different short courses and the units. Let's have a bit of a talk about how they're actually brought to life by way of the learning materials. Over to you.
So there's a very broad range of learning materials that are made available to students in all of these short courses. So students will have access to learner guides, their textbooks. They also have access to MyOb software, which is available for students to actually download and use to complete their tasks. For the Excuse me, I'm sorry. There's a number of self-directed learning activities that students will complete utilising the accounting software, for example. So all the way through the course, students are actually really hands-on, and they're really focusing on those things that you would do when you're creating business reports or budgets or preparing a BAS. And using the BAS calculation worksheet, for example, inside your accounting software. So there's lots of opportunities. There's lots of video that's available within the courses for students to be able to watch and rewatch. And of course, throughout the whole, all units in all of the courses, we really encourage students to keep using the software, to keep developing those real world work skills or workplace skills that they're going to be utilising in the workplace. So the courses are very, very much orientated towards practicing that and developing those skills and honing those skills. There are tutorials and webinars available in some units. In some of the short courses in the accounting and advanced accounting skill set and the BAS agent in particular. And students are also provided with the opportunity to attend those live online classroom-based tutorials, which talk about, if you like, the theory as well as putting that theory into practice. And also provided to students as part of these courses is the opportunity to attend the study support and the assessment support tutorials, where we work with students and we take a deep dive into the assessment tasks, so students can actually see what those tasks are and actually develop all of their practice tasks into their final assessment tasks.
And look, what I love about the live tutorials, you know, particularly for those who are studying remotely or perhaps haven't studied for some time, is that It is a live interactive environment, and it's really, I think, as close to a real world classroom experience as you can get, where there's an opportunity to interact in live real time, of course, with your educator, but then also I think to some degree with your classmates as well. So there's some real benefit to that. And of course, then the other one which I often mention is that idea of connectivity and feeling connected, particularly when you're doing self-directed study, online and whatever it may be. From time to time, it can be a little bit difficult, I think, to sort of feel engaged and motivated. But having an opportunity to get involved in sort of a live classroom environment, more often than not with like-minded sort of people, I think is really beneficial. And that's one of the great things I think about, particularly with the accounting stream as well, and taking advantage of those live online classroom-based tutorials when they're available.
Oh, very much so, James. The other thing that we encourage students to do is to also, student membership is available with the Institute of Certified Bookkeepers or the IPA. So both organisations are able to apply for student membership as mentor education students, and that provides students with an opportunity to access an even greater range of materials to support them now during their learning, but also as they pass out of their courses, they continue to, or they can continue to become full members of those organisations at different membership levels with some, but still have access to those CPD opportunities to maintain their currency for their hours for registration, for example. So there's an additional level there of support and information that's available to students, but also, as you mentioned, that peer-to-peer network, which is incredibly important to us as professionals, and that we will often rely on across our career, and that is a great sounding board both for others and for us.
Excellent. Now, I suppose going on that theme of learning materials to some degree, and really I think an extension of the learning materials and an opportunity to sort of put into place and put into practice what it is that we've been studying, are the assessment functions. So let's have a look at those and talk about perhaps what they entail, and even just reassure us that we wouldn't be exposed to all of these assessment functions for every single unit that we've talked about.
Look, I'll start off by saying that's not going to happen. Okay? There's a pretty scary list on this screen, I can see that, but no. Look, commonly students would come across 2 or 3 of these different things in each different assessment for each unit. So students may complete a mix of short answer questions and some research tasks. They may create a presentation, complete some project tasks, and answer some long answer questions. There may be case study and scenarios and short answer questions. Multiple choice questions here at Mentor Education are provided as a review tool, if you like, a self-directed review tool, so students can actually check their progress with their learning. And they're not actually included in the formal assessment tasks at any time. Having said that, they may come across 1 or 2 multiple choice questions within the short answer question sections of their assessments. But commonly students, as I said, would come across 2 or 3 of these different things in their assessments, and students, as they've worked through each unit of competency in sequence, will have practiced a lot of the types of tasks that they'll be required to complete in their assessments. So we strongly encourage students to really engage with their study, complete those self-directed activities, which provide us with an opportunity to practice the things that we will probably be doing in our assessment tasks. So that's why we do always include 2 or 3 of these different types of things. And an assessment here at Mentor Education is really just a natural extension of what we've been learning throughout the unit.
Now, we've had a look at the different options that are available. We've had a look at the units, the learning materials, and then of course just the assessments. But the next question really is, how do I access it all, and what does online learning look like? So what I thought I'd do is just kind of go through a number of the key requirements. So the first thing that you're going to want to have access to is a strong and reliable internet connection. a laptop or desktop computer, and then, of course, on that laptop or desktop, access to a browser, so Chrome, Firefox, your Mac equivalent, whatever it is that you choose to use. So through your browser, you'll be able to access the student portal, which will take you to the learning management system. And inside the learning management system, or LMS as we refer to it, you'll get access to anything and everything that you need in order to complete the course. So that's your learning materials. You'll be able to access them, any presentations or whatever it may be. Links will all be provided inside that single portal. So really, it's really simple. It's designed to be accessible. And certainly for those who are perhaps returning to study and haven't been doing it, for some time, it's really, really intuitive. So there's kind of, it's kind of really sort of a follow the bouncing ball scenario. So you can sort of see really clearly what your learning materials are, what it is that you need to go through, and of course, what the assessment functions are. Now, one of the great things as well that I like to make mention of, particularly with accessing the learning management system through a browser, is that if you've got a smart device that supports a browser, so it could be your smartphone or your tablet, you can also access your learning materials using that as well. And that might be doing it on the train, or perhaps doing your reading in bed at night, or whatever it may be. But of course, we do recommend, when it comes to completing the assessments, do them on your laptop or desktop computer. It'd be very, very difficult to kind of type up anything that you need on a smartphone or a tablet. And the other thing that I also want to make mention of is that you can access the learning management system 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter where in the world you are or how it is that you're making study fit in with what it is that you're doing. So working full-time, running a family full-time, all of the above, or anything and everything else, being able to access that system whenever it sort of suits you, again, makes it really accessible and of course, flexible to fit in with what your learning requirements are. Other than that, that's really kind of all you need. And of course, accessing the online classroom-based virtual tutorials, information will be sent to you, and then it's really just a matter of, again, clicking the link, logging in, and then sort of, being prepared to engage and learn, and then take advantage of, great opportunity that's made available through those forums as well. Now, from very beginning, there's a whole range of support that's made available too. So what I'll sort of do is go through the process of support, from perhaps even, considering study right through to, when you're studying, and then what sort of support's available to you by way of education support when you're actually doing the course itself. So study at the very beginning, and I'm very aware that we've covered a lot today, by way of units and pathways and entry requirements and all sorts of things like that. So there's a good chance that your head may in fact be spinning. So in response to that, what we've got is an education advice team. And they're based here in Melbourne. They're available 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, directly on the phone, or of course you can catch them via email just about any time. And they can speak to you about the course, what it is that you're currently doing, perhaps studies that you've done in the past before, and where it is that you'd like to go, and of course what's going to be the most appropriate education solution for you. So again, it might be one of these skill sets, or it might be a whole course, or it might be a pathway, or whatever it may be. So working directly with them, you'll be able to go through that whole process, and of course ask any questions that you've got, and they're well equipped to kind of answer any of those questions for you. Then once you're enrolled, which is done directly through an online enrolment portal, which is again designed to be really easy, you'll have access to our team of student support officers who can help you with just about anything and everything, from onboarding you onto the learning management system, resetting passwords if you need to, setting appointments with the education team, all sorts of things like that. And again, they're available directly via email, of course, directly on the phone, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday here in Melbourne, or Sydney time as well. Now, the third pillar of support, which is probably arguably one of the most important ones for you, is the education, training and assessment team. And I'm going to hand on over to you to talk about what that support function looks like, coming from the training and assessment team.
Okay, there's a whole range of support that's available to students that starts as you become a student of mentor education. So our student support team are always, as James mentioned, are always available. Monday to Friday between 9 and 5. But you're also able to access support from that team via the service at mentor.edu.au email address as well, or by calling in on the 1300 number and having a chat to our student support team. Now, our student support team can help you resolve all sorts of questions, queries and support needs. So they can assist you with a booking, so we can demonstrate the learning management system to you if you're experiencing challenges accessing your learning materials. They can arrange for additional cover sheets to be sent to you for your assessments. They can answer so many questions. They can follow up on your assessment results for you, and they can do so many other things as well. But the other thing that our student support team can do is that they can link you as a mentor student with the educators for your course. So by calling in on Monday to Friday, if an educator, trainer, or assessor is available for the course that you're studying, um, the student support team will link you with one of those people who is who to work with you for any challenges or support needs that you have. You're also able to book one-on-one sessions with the educators and trainers for all of your units of study to actually explore any additional questions that you might have or any additional support needs that you may have as well. There's also a range of other supports that we provide to students. So here at Mentor Education, there's no additional charges for course extensions. Resubmissions or remarking are not charged for at any time. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, there's also those additional one-on-one student support sessions. So there's a really broad range of support that's available to students. But as a mentor education student, we just encourage everybody to reach out to us. We can't support students if we don't know that a challenge is happening for them, or that they need additional support or additional information or explanations or anything else. So we really do encourage all of our students to reach out to us via the service at Mentor, email, or by calling in and having a chat with our student support team.
Excellent. And probably one other thing that I'll make mention of, and it's a term I think which is very much aligned with our student support functions, is that life happens as well.
Oh.
So in saying that, in the event that you do need, for example, to put your course on hold, and it might be for a couple of weeks or a couple of months because life happens, you have to go overseas or a family emergency or whatever it may be, give us a call, let us know, and of course we can make that happen for you. And then that way your course is essentially suspended for that period of time, and then you're not having to sort of worry about deadlines or your course duration expiring or whatever it may be, because certainly know that when it comes to sort of doing study or whatever it may be, it can be quite stressful. And then if you've got anything and everything else going on, you don't want to, that weighing on your mind or whatever it may be. So we're very aware life happens. Keep us in the loop, and we'll support you in any way we can. And of course, a course suspension is just one example of that. So what I thought I'd do is also just go through a series of questions that we often get asked by students. And the first one is, can I get government funding? And the short answer to that is no. All of our courses are self-funded by students, or in some cases by their employers. But we also have payment plans and options available. So if you've got any questions about that, speak to the education advice team, who I made mention of earlier on, and they can, of course, go through what options are available to you. Now, when can I start? You can start just about any time. We usually say, look, if you can get enrolment into us by way of the online enrolment portal, you'll be up and running within 24 hours, of course, with the exception of weekends, when it comes through, of course, on first thing Monday morning. Is it all included? Yes. Anything and everything you need in order to complete your skill sets or short course is included. So that's access to your textbooks, your assessments, or anything and everything that you need is all included, really, in simple terms. Difference between study options. Now, some courses will, of course, provide you with an opportunity to engage in the online classroom-based virtual tutorials, but there is also the self-directed version, so you don't have to attend those. Of course, we strongly recommend it, but you don't have to attend those. So if you just like to go completely self-directed, then that's fine as well. The skill sets are nationally recognised in all states and territories around Australia. Are there prerequisites? Now, with some of them, there is. I'll just get you to talk about just briefly, the accounting skill set and the advanced accounting skill set.
Yes, certainly. Students must have completed either a certificate for in accounting and bookkeeping or the accounting skill set. So the FNS, um, all those zeros, 14 skill set, before being able to complete the advanced accounting um, skill set. So there are prerequisites there. And it's very, very important that we do stress that you will not be able to enrol in the advanced accounting principles skill set unless you have completed either the certificate for in accounting and bookkeeping or the accounting principles skill set. So back to you, James.
Thanks, Iona. And the final question is, how long do people usually take to finish? Well, it's going to depend, of course, on what skill set or short course that you choose. So, and as we said earlier on, there may be times perhaps where you need to suspend the course or whatever it may be, but the timeframes that you want to have in mind are the ones that are aligned with each of those skill sets earlier on. Now, bit of background on Mentor. Just briefly before we close up today, we've been delivering education in the financial services, business, accounting, project management and IT space since 2003. In this time, look, I think delivering, really, really positive student outcomes through, industry engagement, really great course material, and of course, really, really strong student support has, I think put us in a really, really good position. And a lot of, I think, what it is that we try to achieve are reflected in our student outcomes each and every year. Now, what we've got up there is our student outcomes from last year that's reported by an independent body. And Iona, I'll hand on over to you to talk to us about what those student outcomes mean.
Thanks, James. So each year, the National Centre for Vocational Education and Research undertake a survey, if you like, of all students in Australia. And I guess it's probably fair to say that this is really what our students say about us. So we thought we'd share this with everybody today. So 92% of our graduates are employed or enrolled in further study after they complete their courses. 91.6% of our students are satisfied with the overall quality of their training. And always the telling numbers, 90.2% of our students are satisfied with their assessment. If we all think back in this session today about what I was talking about with assessment. So, and 86.5% of our students would recommend Mentor as a training provider. So what this tells us is that our commitment to our students is actually reflected in what our students say about us. And so our commitment really is to all of our students and to supporting them to complete their courses so they can achieve their goals and their career aspirations. And I think our student feedback is actually supporting our goals, because it's great to see this in our student outcomes each year.
Excellent. Now, finally, if you'd like more information on what we talked about today, there's, of course, a number of ways that you can do it. The most simple way would be to head on over to the website, so mentor.edu.au, and there you'll be able to access the accounting and finance short courses and skill sets pages and download a course guide and brochure that covers anything and everything that we talked about today, plus more. Otherwise, contact the education advice team directly. So you can email them requesting information about any of the skill sets or short courses that we talked about today. And you can email them directly on courseconsultant@mentor.edu.au. Otherwise, give them a call on 1300 306 146 between 9 and 5 Melbourne and Sydney time. Ask to be put through to an education advisor, and of course they can answer any questions with you on the phone. And if none of those options work, again, on the website, we've got a live instant messaging chat function. So you can actually chat live in real time with the education advice team, again, between 9 and 5, Monday to Friday, Melbourne and Sydney time. Iona, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, James. It's been great to be here, and I really look forward to seeing everybody as students here at Mentor Education.
Excellent. And thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in. As Iona said, look forward to seeing your students very soon. As always, take an opportunity to excite your potential, and we'll see you next time.